All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Coming at you live from Vegas. We've been out here since last Friday. We'll be here till Friday again. So apologize for a little bit of low light here, and I don't have my standing desk. So first time I've been sitting down in a while. It's pretty weird. Chris, I like your background, brother. Looks like the Matrix.
You're in the Matrix, brother.
I love it. A few things. I want to welcome Chris Pepin. He's checking us out here. Jumping in, good friend of Chris Patterson, very successful businessman. So checking us out. So welcome, Chris. And I also want to welcome a couple of new members. We have Keaton Nelson. A lot of you guys know Keaton owns Perpetual Motion Digital Marketing Agency. A lot of you are even using him. So everything you see Matrix and Contact Ninja is running through his team. Highly recommended for socials and YouTube and geez, a whole bunch of stuff. Keaton, how big's your team now?
I think I pay about 20 people a week.
So they can get stuff done. So if you guys are looking for digital marketing, social media, YouTube, stuff like that, good way to go. And my main man, Antonio Garcia. A lot of you guys might know Antonio from the Matrix, very successful businessman himself. And we're very blessed to have him in our companies, coming in as the VP of sales, which is just absolutely amazing. Welcome, Antonio. Good to have you, bud. Oh, you are muted.
What's going on, guys? How are you? Good morning.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Awesome. Well, let's get started. Who has some wins? I want to share my first one. It was very cool to be able to have Heaven's 21st birthday out here in Vegas. We rented a jet, which was really cool. And I told a story on the jet that, many of you guys know that I literally wrote out Laura, right? I attracted her. I wrote out, what it felt like to be with this person, what it looked like, all of it, very, very detailed. And next thing you know, I met my unicorn. But Heaven tells a story of when she was 7 years old. Since she was 7, every year since she was 7, she visualized like going to Vegas for her 21st birthday. For some reason, 7-year-old kid, big dreams, but she visualized going on a private jet. So it hit me like a ton of bricks over last weekend. I'm like, holy cow. It's like, did I attract Laura or did Heaven attract us and me and the Matrix and the jet? So the power of a child's imagination is just crazy. So it was really neat to reflect on that. So that was one of my wins. But what do you guys get for wins? Chris?
I'll start. Oh, never mind.
Oh, you can, Chris, then you.
Hey guys, my sound okay?
Yeah, you're good.
So this is actually a win. Well, it is a win for me. Proud dad moment. My youngest son is 18 years old. He started going through thinking into results when he was 17, and he started visualizing some of the things that he wanted. One of those is he said, "I want to make a lot of money from the internet," and he didn't know how. And then also another thing that we had decided is he wanted to buy his own car. He did not want me to buy him a car. He's like, "Dad, I want it to be mine, nobody else's." So long story short, he is now successfully generating between $5,000 and $10,000 a month as an 18-year-old in the digital space. And that was something that he attracted into his life. And then last weekend, we found a 1975 Plymouth Duster that he's going to completely restore, and he bought his first car. Wow. So I am so tremendously grateful for this information. And Brian, I'll even give you some credit. How's that sound?
Bob said the same. You can't give me credit, brother. You guys, I'm just a messenger, right? And you guys attracted me. I attracted you. We all attract each other. That's just awesome. I love hearing that. I know how that feels because the same thing happened with Maddie. Like she started studying this stuff. She's like 18, 19. And you guys all know Maddie's story. So I know that feeling. It's a very, very good feeling. Anybody else got a win before we get going? Oh, Kevin, you had one.
Yeah, just create another passive income stream. So I'm in the hospitality business and we do a lot of short-term rentals. So I guess we sign up affiliate link with Viator. There's like 16 different tours that we send our guests to. And every time they sign up a tour, we get 8% commission. So that's just another revenue stream that I just created, like just recently.
I love it, love it, love it. Also, I want to welcome Noah. I didn't see you there, bud. What's happening? Noah and his team does all of our production, works with Keaton They do full-blown commercials. I mean, Hollywood level commercials, TV clips, but also things for YouTube or things for digital marketing. So him and Keaton are doing all of what you see here for the Matrix. So welcome, Noah. You have a win?
Ooh, where do we begin, right? I just want to say first and foremost, it's so beautiful to see everyone's faces and see like all the new members joining, like Keaton, Noah, and Chris, welcome. Just as we all grow and expand, you know, I just have so much gratitude because all the, like Ian, I spoke to Ian because I was giving him a call because I wanted to connect him with someone. And then of course, like he just pours into me for like 15 minutes. So Ian, I'm so grateful for you as well. And I just want to say, more than anything, there's all these things that, just like you said, Brian, it's co-creation all the time, right?
Mhm.
It's always everything together coming in that precise moment every single time. And I'm just in awe, not surprised, but awe of all of the things that are coming together through everyone here, through all of our communities. Just, I can't pinpoint one thing, but it is all the people. It's all the people that we keep expanding and building relationships with. So I want to thank you all. So thank you.
Yeah, it's hard to call one of your fellow members and not get an earful of love, and the 5 minutes turns into an hour usually because it's we're on the same page, same frequency, understand the same stuff. So I know the feeling and know and love the feeling. So awesome. Mr. Antonio, can I get you to read the mastermind principles if I share the screen here?
Yeah, sure.
For your inauguration.
Perfect. So I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I am open to looking at myself, my problems, and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide to release my desire totally in trust to the mastermind, and I am open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past, so I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires, and I hear my mastermind partner supporting me in my fulfillment. I accept, I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful knowing this is so. In dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to the world and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I go forth with a spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Just a reminder, let's see, we got Chris Patterson, we have Corbin Cohen, Chris and Erica Cates. Anytime you guys want a hot seat, just let me know, whether you're launching a business or want to, take a look at your business, whatever it is, the hot seats are meant for you guys, as well as Antonio and Keaton and Noah. Whenever you guys want, you can come front and center. Keaton, a good thing with you would be to highlight your company probably, but maybe there's some other things too. And for those of you that are not familiar with the hot seat, if you're new, it's when the entire community just pours right into you, your business. It could be a health issue, could be relationships, but more than often it's for business structure and building businesses, launching things. We raised a bunch of money for Contact Ninjas through here, so it could be money raises. But just raise your hand when you guys want a hot seat and we'll get you guys in, all right? What else we got for housekeeping? Oh, the retreat. Or charity. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, Ara is launching the charity for his homeland there. So yeah, if you guys want to, really, it's anything, launching a book, anything you guys need help with, just raise your hand. We'll get you going. The retreat, we are shifting locations to South Florida because Ivan's facility could not facilitate us during the time that we wanted there. So we'll be in South Florida. Those of you that were here last time, it's a very, very good event, and we'll up our game down there, but they were not able to accommodate us. So our group's getting bigger and bigger. So we will try to work that out, because where Ivan lives is just amazing. It's a massive, massive complex. There's like 7 restaurant pools. It's beautiful, but they just weren't able to accommodate that date. So we'll get you guys out the agenda and the location, but it's January 18th through the 22nd. And the last thing I got, we're going to get the details for the affiliate program for the Gold Fund. Just putting together a little PowerPoint for you guys, and also the legal stuff, and some bullet points, what it is, what it isn't. And we'll try to get that out to you guys this week. All right. Anybody got any questions before we move forward? I'm going to, as you guys saw, I'm going to be teaching on the ROBS structure, the rollover business structure. And this has been something that I've implemented. It's absolutely amazing. I spent a day with Andrew Cordell, who taught me this, and it's actually not that complicated once you get it. And I actually have the whole team that can put it together. So I'm going to shift gears and switch the screen here.
Right. When's Inner Circle?
The retreat,
Yeah.
that is going to be in March, and I think it's around the 18th or whatever. But and that's a good point. You guys, if you want to go to that as well, you can. You have access here to the Inner Circle with the Elite 100. Matter of fact, just a reminder, in the Elite 100, you get access to the Inner Circle and TIR and Mindset Masters if you want. So you can matrix out all week. All right, so the role of a business structure, this is right in the IRS tax code. This is not anything complicated like, some people have done the trust systems and trying to understand different types of trust. And this is just right in the IRS tax code. And actually, let me see if I can pull something out real quick. Let's see. There we go. Let me just share the screen. This was one thing that Andrew showed me when I spent the day with him. How Peter Thiel turned 2,000 in a Roth IRA into 5 billion. Right. So this is a completely legal tax structure. Any CPA can do this, and we have a new CPA in the matrix that's handling all of our structures. But this is exactly what I'm going to show you here today. Is how a lot of politicians, a lot of very successful people are using very basic tax structures to create really empires and legacy. And everybody here, most of you have at least $100 million goal, if not more, and you want to leave impact and legacy. So this structure, it might look a little complicated here on the screen, so just bear with me for a second. It's really not. It's designed to get most of your income coming through like a Roth IRA, which is a tax-free, a tax-free entity that was put together by the IRS. And there's 2 parts to this, right? So let me ask you guys this, and let me expand you. Does anybody here not have a solo Roth or a solo IRA, I should say, a company-sponsored solo IRA? Valerie? Oh, Corbin, okay. Okay, a few of you guys. All right, so step 1, you should all have this. This is super easy. You just need like an LLC or an S Corp. And full disclosure, I am not a tax advisor. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax attorney. Everything I'm going to show you here is just for educational purposes. It's something that I've done, and I put the team together. Well, actually, Andrew had the team, but I have the people that create it, that are monitoring it. I have the CPA, and I have the IRA company that set up the IRA. So if anybody wants those references, I can get them to you. But you need to do your own homework, talk to your own CPA, things like that. But a solo IRA allows you to contribute $25,000 a year into a Roth, and another 41K, 42,000 into a traditional IRA, which you can then roll over into your Roth and just wash out the taxes, about 8K in taxes. So what it allows you to do every year is get around 60 grand. I think it's like 66,000 this year. It keeps going up, but about 60 grand working for you inside of a Roth. And if you guys are familiar with the Roth, they're tax-free, they're after tax. I think the personal Roth is 6,000 a year, so you can't really do much with that. but 60K is a decent chunk. And then in a solo Roth or a solo IRA, it's self-directed, right? So what it means is you get to invest the monies. It could be real estate, it could be the orange common stock, it could be businesses like perpetual motion, right? You get to control the investments, as opposed to a Roth IRA being connected to like Ameritrade and investing in mutual funds. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions on what a solo IRA is? Or because that's step one. You should all be, my opinion, you should all be doing that anyway. Very basic. I can get you a company if you want, because it allows you to invest in all the things that we do. The only thing you can't invest in is like collectibles, like artwork. But anything else that we're doing, everything that you guys see here in the matrix, if you have a solo IRA through your own company, you can do about 65,000 a year, which is very, it's a lot better. So that's kind of step one of what this bigger structure is. Now, the rollover business structure is really to build legacy wealth. And you need to set up the solo Roth first. So you need to have a company, set up a solo Roth, because what you need to do is roll this over into the new structure. That's why it's called a rollover business structure. And everybody here, I think you know that I had the Matrix and I had BMK Associates. I had a couple of companies years ago. Every block you see here now is either a new company or revenue stream. So we've grown quite a bit. And I'm driving Kendra crazy. But she's getting educated on all this stuff too. So now what you see here is, here's me at the top, Brian Amaso Personal. I've now inserted a new C Corp, right? So the rollover business structure, what you do is you create a holding company, which is a C Corporation. Now a C Corporation is like Nike or General Electric. C Corporations can buy other companies and partnerships, and you get taxed as a C Corporation, which is 20%, right? So compared to like an LLC or an S Corp, where you're paying personal, state and federal W-2 distributions, C Corps get taxed at about 20-21%. And there's also might be a small state tax depending on where you are. But the purpose of this is to create like a holding, like a shell company, where all this other stuff can exist. And the way it rolls over is the new C Corp creates an IRA, right? It creates an IRA for you and or any employees you might have. And the Roth that you have, or the IRA that you have created in the solo, rolls over to fund the new C Corp IRA. Does that make sense? That's where this the magic happens. The rollover from an existing IRA to the new IRA. That makes
Brian,
sense?
isn't that actually a 401k?
No, it's an IRA. It could be a 401k, but it could be a combination of Roth, traditional, but it's an IRA. I'd have to double check with the company if it's, a 401. I don't think it's a 403, but it's just a traditional and a Roth IRA. But it's a solo IRA is the difference, which is done under a company versus a person. So if you didn't have an LLC or something, you need to create one, which is not a big deal. But I think most of you probably have LLCs and S Corps and things like that. But I'll get that question answered. So when it rolls over now, this new IRA has funds, and what it does is it buys 100% of the shares of the C Corp. So now this IRA owns the shell company, the holding company. That makes sense? So now anything this company does can now sort of funnel through the Roth. So I have companies that are in the C Corp, and I have companies that the Roth owns, and I'll explain the difference. And this is why I wanted to take a whole hour for this. The Roth can go ahead and purchase, like I said, 50% of Keaton's company, Orange Common Stock. I'm going to create another account under the Gold Fund, right? So now imagine the Gold Fund where you pay 0 taxes legally, transparently. Right? This is the beauty of this, is that you don't have to hide anything, not that you are, but it's just straightforward. You actually show everything. In the traditional world, and I think a lot of you have done this, you open up a traditional business, and what do you try to do? You try to write everything off and lower your income. And we've done this for the past 20, 30 years, right? The downside is when you go to pull a loan and you've been showing very low income to your businesses, you can't pull loans, right? You can't pull $1 million and put it in the gold fund. I've done this myself, and it's absolutely hurt being able to pull massive amounts of money. In this structure here, you show everything. You have all these assets, all these things, all these companies all rolling through the structure, and you can pull loans against all of it. So it's an entirely different way to think. Instead of trying to hide and write everything off and buy a truck that you don't need, you actually show everything. So I think the holy grail of this, and I don't have this account set up yet, but it'll probably be next month, is some of these things like the AI and the gold fund, getting them into the structure over time so that you pay zero taxes on all the gains, and you can show every single thing to your CPA and to the IRS.
Brian, question.
Yeah.
Who's and what kind of bank would lend you money on IRA, on a Roth IRA?
Well, I don't know if they would loan against that, but they would certainly loan against perpetual motion, or $5 million in the gold fund, things that were in the IRA. It's an asset.
Okay.
Right? SBA loans against businesses. We're doing one against the Matrix right now.
And is the matrix in IRA or is outside?
No, I'll show you exactly what that is. So right now the Matrix is still, you see where it says here personally? The Matrix is still owned by me personally, but I'm looking to sell it into the C Corp, and I'll tell you why. And I'm also selling my old construction company, which was just a holding company, into the C Corp. So you can see the difference here. There's some things that are under the IRA and some things that are under the C Corp. So let's take BMK Associates. This is what currently owns my AI and gold fund. Right now, so when this company is owned by the C Corp, let's say I take $100K distribution at the end of the month. And remember, C Corps pay about 20% in taxes. So I'll pay the 20% in taxes, right? But then the 80K rolls right into the Roth, and then the Roth can invest it. And as big as that grows for the rest of my life, it's all tax-free. So it's not like you're avoiding every single penny of taxes. You are paying your taxes. You're paying 20% once. So just think about that, right? As we're building these accounts, and let's say you take $100K a month distribution from your gold fund, I can pay 20% once, show it, take the 80K a month, put it right back into a new gold fund that's in the IRA that's tax-free for life. Does that make sense? And what this is recorded, one thing I want to say to you guys is please don't share this with anyone at all, because this is all my companies. I'm showing you everything with my companies. This is for the elite, and I trust you guys. But I really wanted to show you in real time what I've done so you can see it. So here's the benefit, right? I have my old construction company, about 22 years old. It's just a holding company. I loaned myself, right? I loaned $500,000, whatever, a year ago or something, back when we started the AI. As a personal loan from me to my existing company, my BMK, and then I put it into AI and then into the gold fund. So that first $500,000 back was just a repayment of loan. Now that the C Corp is owning BMK, I can funnel all the profits up through the C Corp, pay taxes once at 20%, not 40 or 50, right? Which is what I used to pay in Massachusetts. And then that money is in the IRA, and I can buy companies and real estate and stock and gold funds and AIs and everything we're going to experience for the next 50 years together in the elite. I can now purchase it through the Roth. Now, what happens with the Roth is it becomes very self-fulfilling and self-perpetuating, right? If we have companies in there, if we have the gold fund, it's going to build just a ton of tax-free cash, and I can just keep buying stuff and buying stuff. My only job is to keep buying companies or finding investments or finding real estate. Is to just keep that money turning.
Brian, quick question, sorry.
Sure, yeah.
How do you take money out then for living purposes?
So that's a very good question. So I have BMK and I have the matrix and I take W-2 paychecks every month, a certain amount of living expenses. And those are not owned by the Roth, right? They're owned by the C Corp, but I'm fully in control of my W-2 income from my existing companies. The other thing is you cannot operate a company and have it in the Roth or in the IRA. It has to be things that are non-operating, like the gold fund, or like I said, I bought 50% of Keaton's company. He's running that. So, but what it does allow me to do is so Ara, your construction company, right? It would allow you to funnel all the profits up through, pay your 20%, but then push all the profits into the Roth and invest in new companies. Now, the one thing I can do, like with Keaton's company, is a good example. My Roth owns 50% of his company. I could get a paycheck from him, or a distribution, I should say, to me personally. So you can pull money out. But the point,
So that does not funnel through the IRA at that point because it's owned by the IRA.
it does, but I mean, it could pay me personally as a K1, and then the profits would roll up through the IRA. If that makes sense.
It wouldn't be a K1. It could only be a 1099.
Through the IRA.
Yeah. In order to get a K1, you have to have ownership, which the ownership is owned by the Roth. So
Correct.
if you're going to get income out of perpetual motion, it would be a 1099 event, not a K1 event.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And this is, like I said, you want to contact your CPAs. I have a CPA I can refer you guys to, because I'm not a CPA. I'm just showing you what I set up here, and I have the players that can help us set it up. So, but the thing there, for, like I said, Ara, you can buy, real estate. You can put it in the AI, things like that. But this wouldn't be for money you'd want to take personally. This is for growing your, hundreds of millions, right? Over here on
understand.
this,
Sorry, one more question.
Sure.
My only concern with it, and I love the idea, I've seen this before, I never jumped on it. My only concern is if I'm going to buy a piece of real estate and I have the down payment, 25, 30%, whatever, will the banks or institutions be willing to lend to an IRA with my personal guarantee from outside? You know what I'm saying? That little piece of information I don't have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, it's just like anything else. When you guys are, let's say personally, if you have an IRA with $1 million in it, and you go to the bank and you want to pull a loan, it's like, what do you have for assets? Well, I have $1 million in an IRA. It's something they can attach to. So absolutely, and that's one of the big things, right? If we have, $1 million in the gold fund growing in there, and 5 years from now it's 10 million. It's really for legacy wealth and building, what, like I said, most of us want to get past 100 million. It's for building that legacy. And the other thing is, think about when you pass on, right? This is just an IRA that's I can will to Maddie, right? Matter of fact, I have Maddie set up in the C Corp as a trustee, so she can control that thing, and there's no government getting in the way. There's none of that. It's just an IRA that she now controls. Does that make sense? So it actually passes on a lot easier as well. But it's good to have, and a lot of us have both, right? So, the company that I'm creating with Luke, that cannot be in the IRA because I'm going to be operating it as well. But the income can pass up to the C Corp, right? I can pay myself a W-2, I can take K1s, but anything that's left over will wash us through the C Corp, and I can control it and put it in the Roth. So there's reasons to have companies in the C Corp, and there's reasons to have the Roth invest in things. But if you want to build just a massive multi-$100 million, billion-dollar legacy, this is how to, it's a way to do it. It's not the only way. There's a million ways to do it, but it's a way that I was shown that I'm doing that. There's no red flags with this. Like most CPAs can handle this. It's just traditional tax code. There's no flags. You're showing all of your income. The other thing to do is to move to Puerto Rico like Ivan. That's another way to avoid a lot of taxes. Chris?
Brian, what would be the easiest way, or who would be the person to speak to actually have this all executed? I know I've got my CPA,
Mhm,
but
yep.
is there somebody else that I should be sharing this with or talking to get it all executed
Yeah,
quickly?
you need the IRA custodian, which we have a company called IRA Financial. Kendra, do you happen to have a contact that you could put in the chat? And that's the one I used. But it's a traditional IRA company that understands the Rob structure. And then either you or your CPA or your team would need to create the C Corp. We did it in Florida. It's a great state to do it. But you could do the C Corp in Nevada or Wyoming if you didn't live in a tax-friendly state. But Florida is a fine state to do it. So your CPA might be able to hold your hand through opening the C Corp. They usually can. Kendra worked directly with IRA Financial, did it herself, so it's not that difficult. And Kendra might be able to answer some questions around that too, because she actually did all this. She's my CFO, and she was working with the people at IRA Financial to open up the C Corp and the 2 IRAs.
So I should just call Kendra.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yep, she'll help you with what you know there. Mr. Pepin, what about you?
Hey, I really like the idea of seeing this. The question is, if I'm not planning on handing off a pile of cash to the next generation, and is this something you can start to tap at 59 and a half? Or, I mean, I think the idea of working.
No, absolutely. It's a Roth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely. And I already answered your question. It's a Roth. So at 59 and a half, you can just take distributions from it.
Right. So that all works as well too.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, no, great point. I forgot to say that. Yeah, it's
Because you start to get thin on your working years, and you want to be able to
Yep.
maintain a lifestyle without going down. That it works that way if you don't want to, hand it off too. Okay, that's
Yep.
what I thought. Thanks.
But again, if somebody's really just concerned about that, you might just do a solo Roth or a solo IRA, because you can do this is really to control multiple companies, multiple assets, build massive wealth. A solo Roth, you can do like I said, up to 65,000 a year and invest it in pretty much anything you want, and you can control it. So you really want to, look at what you have, how many companies you have. We can chat about it here too. And like I said, I'm not an advisor, but I can tell you guys, why I did this and what I know and kind of how it works.
Brian, why do you need to take a distribution
What
at
do you
the
mean?
C Corp level?
I don't need to,
make-
but I can, right?
Oh.
If you're looking to withdraw income, I can, well, I do. I pay myself through BMK. I pay myself through the Matrix, W-2 and K-1. I can pay myself through the C Corp. And C Corps can also do a lot of fun things with perks, like buying houses and cars and stuff. And again, you got to talk to your CPA about that. But C corporations are like Nike, General Electric. They do, as the CEO of that company, that you can get perks, right? But the C Corp could also buy a home that I lease to myself personally. The Roth, you can't buy a home and lease it to yourself personally. You can buy tons of real estate, but you couldn't. So there's another reason to, why you would use one over the other. But I intend to buy my home in Florida, the next one here, with the C corporation. And I'll probably even spin off an LLC and just own it under there, but I'll lease it to myself and then write off personally my lease, right? And write off the home 100%. Everything, principal, interest, every single thing with the home, it'll be a business. That's how Grant Cardone does it too with his, I don't own anything he says, but he does.
Is that 20% just like one time only, or
Yep.
this is every time you take a distribution from the
Well,
C
no,
Corp?
yeah, so anytime you run money through it, yes, it's 20% on, yeah. So all of the money flows up, right, through all these companies, and I'm pushing the profits up into the C Corp. Like I said, I can take W-2 and K-1 and all kinds of things personally, but whatever's left, I can push it up to the C Corp, pay 20% taxes, or like 21, and then the rest of all that profit rolls into the Roth, which just grows it tax-free. And at the C Corp level too, that you can also, I'm using Pam Jordan, who's probably going to be joining us here soon as a fractional CFO. And there's a lot of different write-offs and things you can do in there. So even the 20%, there's things you can do with easements, land easements, and some neat things. Solar credits, that's where our and his team would come in. Good place for that stuff.
Brian, why wouldn't you still like take advantage of the write-offs so that it's gonna be 20% less, or I mean, it's gonna be less of the 20%, right?
Well, in your lower tier companies, you can, like, I'll still write stuff off.
Okay.
You know, my Mercedes, a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll run that company still underneath. But the profits, right, instead of
Right.
getting taxed at the S corp level, and, you know, and personally, I push up. But the point is to get the after-tax money into the Roth to invest. That's the biggest thing.
So are those disregarded entities to the C corp?
What do you mean?
Basically, the C corp owns those LLC,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yep.
got you.
And if you're creating new companies under the C corp, they want to be limited liability partnerships, LLPs.
Okay.
What other questions you guys have? It looks like a lot, but it's actually pretty simple once you get it up and running. And it's definitely a way to show everything, right? You show all your net worth when you're pulling loans, doing things with the IRS. You're being a good person, you're paying your taxes, but it really sets you up to be able to, you know, a lot of people with the gold fund and the AI, it's like, what do we do for taxes? Like, well, you're 100% on your own. You know, you do what your CPA tells you. And depending on your CPA, they might look at short-term capital gains on every single trade, right? If you're showing the trade is trading every single day. With this here, because it's owned under the Roth, there's no taxes on it. So you can just show it. You can show your Coinbase accounts, your FTX accounts. It's just a very clean way to get into some of the things we do and not have to worry about tax consequences.
So Brian, how do you change it? Like if you already have a trader's domain account or GoFund, how do you make it so
So that's where it gets a little, I mean, you probably want to start, well, it depends what you've reported, right? It really depends what you've reported to date. Because I mean, those accounts nobody knows about. So you know, you could start a new, and again, I'm not a tax advisor. You gotta talk to a CPA, enter at your own risk, all that stuff. But you could start a new, well, let me show you what I did. I took 50K from BMK and I rolled it into the IRA to get it going. I then put that from the IRA into the gold fund under a new account. So it's all, I know I showed it all. I paid taxes on the 50K through BMK Associates as income, which funded the Roth, and then the Roth funded the gold fund. But you guys can have multiple gold fund accounts. So or if you have something in there now, you could always start a new one if you wanted to and play with it that way. Then transfer over time, maybe.
Hey, Brian.
Yep.
What could I do with the Ninja stock or the Orange Comet? Could I move that from where I have it now in a holding LLC that's not a C Corp into
Yes,
the Roth?
the only thing there, Dan, and I'm looking to do that too. You can see that I'm trying to figure out, I have all this Alvarium stock, right? And it has a value to it. So in order to get that over there, you'd have to sell it, right? You'd have to sell it to the new company. And in the case of the Orange Comet, that's probably very doable. But in the case of the Contact Ninja, it might be a little bit more expensive, but it still might be worth it. You'd have to sell it personally to the new LLC, and you could totally do that.
Okay. I couldn't move it from one LLC to the Roth.
You can't just move it. You'd have to sell it. No, the Roth would have to buy it. So you'd have to get this thing going, fund the Roth, and then the Roth could absolutely purchase from the other LLC stock. That's the legal way to do it. But you actually have to buy it. And
Thank
again,
you.
that might be worth doing because that stock's going to go through the roof. So
The
Brian,
Roth
the only
cannot-
downfall here.
The Roth cannot purchase anything from you as an individual.
no, but it can buy companies. And Dan has an LLC that purchased the Contact Ninja stock. So the Roth can buy other companies.
Yeah, it can buy other companies. It just can't buy other companies that you personally own.
Correct. Correct.
Ken,
So the only downfall here, Brian, is that you don't, you have to have individual, you and your wife individually run things. You can't commingle at this point because of being Roth.
That I don't know, but it sounds accurate because yeah, it's a company sponsored Roth. That's something you'd have to ask your CPA.
Okay.
And Dan, I'm talking to some tax attorneys and stuff. I'm looking to somehow get my Alvarium stock under this umbrella because that's something I definitely want to try to mitigate taxes on. So I'm looking into that myself, and I'll let you guys know if I crack the code on that.
Imagine having 21 billion in Roth IRA.
Well, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That's the goal. Any other questions?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's up, good?
Hey, what's up? Just wanted to chime in here, as it, of course, Liz and I are both financial advisors. One of the things you have to kind of be aware of is sort of the verbiage related to some of the transactions that occur, right? So you're talking contributions rollover. So there's a lot of, there's 61K contribution, but there's also the actual rollover component, which is actually the most important component as you sell assets into the actual Roth IRA. That's something Liz and I can do the solo case components, but self-directed IRAs are a little bit more finicky, but definitely are familiar with the sort of the flow of it, and how it's structured. But implementing a solo K is easy. It's the structure that you really want to focus on. That's where accountants and tax accountants are really important as part of the process, because you want to make sure that your setup is correct. Otherwise, you're gonna have massive taxation, obviously, if you're not setting it up correctly. So that's something super important. We have conversations with accountants all the time in regards to this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, that's why I'm not an IRA expert, but the team that we hired is, and they're the ones that held Kendra's hand through the structure part of it. And then, like, so we have a CPA that's done all this stuff. That's very well versed, and we have a fractional CFO that also has the Rob structure herself, so she understands it at a very high level.
Nice.
Some lower tier, mom and pop shop CPAs might not understand this, and if that's the case, you're probably not with the CPA you want to be with anyway, knowing what we're doing here and all the income streams we're growing and things of that nature. So anybody that's interested, I can get you our CPA, a fractional CFO, and the company that set up the IRA structure. Anybody else? All right, well, hopefully you get some value out of that. I wanted to share that with you guys because that's something that we're doing. We're living it, breathing it, and it allows you to really kind of play the game, right? And Andrew even called this the money game. This is how, very high level politicians and high net worth people, it's one of the ways that they're doing it. And, you guys all saw what happened with Wesley Snipes when he set up what he thought was a legal trust structure. Totally, he thought it was legal, going from a business to a personal to a family to a charity, and those things sometimes get cracked if every word has to be in the right place, so it can just be a little tricky to set up the trust. There's people that do them and they work. It's just this here is a lot more straightforward. Most CPAs can handle it, and you're literally just following tax code, so it's pretty easy. Chris?
I was just thinking ahead on liquidity events. So if you have a company you're starting or a new company, could you transfer, say, 20, 30, 40% into the IRA that you want to put away long-term and kind of do it that way? And
well, don't forget, you can't be operating the company.
Right.
But you could have it under the C Corp. And then, like I said, the profit pushes up. You pay your 20% taxes, and then 80% of the profit rolls over as usable income into the Roth. But
Right, so you could do it that way. You can put it in, but it would have to be after 20% tax. So your C
Correct.
corp owns 40% of your company, it pays the 20% tax, kicks it aside, and basically you're handcuffing yourself to the future and making sure that those distributions go in the right channel. Because that's what I'm thinking is just it could be a really great accountability process, even with your own current company.
Yeah.
Kind of,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
okay.
And like, Ara was saying that there's always ways, there's a million ways to get the money out. If you did need something personally, it's not actually hard at all.
Right.
Spin off a new company, get paid a, silent partner, a non-operating partner salary. There's a million ways to actually access the money, including, retirement age, but it's actually not hard to get it out. It's just really, I think, setting up for a big structure and playing the money game.
Hey,
Thanks.
Brian, as Michelle and I reinvest in real estate, should it be the Roth that buys the real estate?
Well, it depends, right? If you have a property manager and you're not managing the properties, then the Roth could do it. If you are managing the properties, like you said, that you can't use the Roth to, like Corbett said, buy companies that you're operating or properties. But if you had a property manager and you're literally just the investor, think of it that way. If you're just the investor, you can do it through the Roth. If you're actually in the company, like Luke and I are in the company that we're creating for Forex trading, I can't put that under the Roth, but I can put it under the C Corp and wash the profits up, dump them into the Roth, and then the Roth puts it in the gold fund. So and this is where your the IRA professional that I can help you with, they can show you what's not right. Like some people, they'll buy a yacht under their Roth, right? And then they're on the damn thing, taking pictures, like, they're setting themselves up for failure that way. Let's see, Peggy had a question here.
So Brian, this
Absolutely, Peggy. Yeah, it depends on your goals.
the operating component of it
Mhm.
is critically important. So 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a Roth owned C Corp, which is essentially flipping your structure, where the Roth owns the C Corp and the
Yep.
C Corp you are operating, was, a big strategy 10, 12 years ago.
Yep.
The IRS came in and blew it up,
Mhm.
and said, a Roth, you cannot, they laid down specific guidelines. You cannot have any active management
Yes,
capacity
well, that's,
in an entity that the Roth owns.
yeah, 100%. That's why, like I said, Orange, the stock that I bought from you, Keen's company, it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense for things that you don't operate, and you don't want to play around with that stuff either. There's no reason to, right? If you're operating it, you put it under your C Corp and you just wash the profits over. If it's a non-operating, so as you guys push towards 100 million in billionaire goals, mostly, and I see this at like the BA, the senior level investors, all they're like mentors. They sit on boards. You can sit on a board of a company, you just can't be an operating officer. All they're doing is investing in other people's ideas, having fun, going to masterminds, and this is a perfect structure for, what I call that last half of your life, whatever, when you're really just investing and growing and kind of playing the money game. Chris, Kate's.
All right, so the Roth can't own something, a company that you're ownership of, but it bought 100% of the shares of the C Corp,
Mhm.
which you were an owner of, I guess, at one point. So is that allowed?
Well, I'm a trustee that operates the Roth, and the Roth owns the C Corp. I don't own it. I control it, but I don't own it.
Okay.
And that's similar to a trust, right? You don't own it, the trust does. But you're the trustee of the trust, so you're controlling it. And so it's that same principle, own nothing, control everything, just in a different structure. Any other questions? All right, well, hopefully you found some value there. If anybody wants to dig deeper, I'm always available. We'll get the replay out of this. Again, please don't share it. It's fine to maybe share it with your CPA or somebody. And I'm not a tax advisor, so you definitely need to talk to your CPA. I can connect you guys with the IRA firm if you want. That IRA Financial, I think Kendra put it in the chat. And I can also connect you with a CPA and a fractional CFO that can help you run all this stuff too, if it's something you guys want to do.
Hey, Brian, I just sent you the link schedule on your calendar so we can jump on.
Sweet.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, everybody, have an amazing day, and love and appreciate you all. Welcome to the new members. Chris Pepin, I'll chat with you, see if you have interest in joining us. And we'll see everybody next week. Be well and God bless.
Thank you.
Everyone, have a great day.
Take care.
Bye.
Good week, everyone.
Bye-bye.